Emotional maturity and emotional intelligence is generally one of the things that women say they find most desirable in men. They really want a man to have this quality. So with that being said, we're going to go through 6 very, very clear signs you are dating a guy who is emotionally mature. Before we get to that, my Claim Your Man program is now open. In this program, I guide you through how to get commitment from the first date, step by step, from the guy that you want. So if you want to be ready to get commitment from the next guy that you date, just enroll in the link below. First sign of good emotional maturity in a guy is self-awareness. Self-awareness about his own strengths, but also about his own weaknesses. Self-awareness about their own capabilities, but also in areas that they could learn from other people. There's nothing wrong with being able to say, oh, hey, I struggle in this area, because he has undeniable proof about what he is capable of and what he is able to do. That's not the only thing he has self-awareness on. And something else that he has great self-awareness on is his own emotions. And this is going to be a big one for a guy. He can recognize himself and goes, oh, you know what? I'm a bit agitated today, so maybe I'm not going to engage with certain people as much or limit my engagement because I don't want to give people a certain energy, unintentionally so. So because of that, I can take some space. On the other side, being aware enough to go, oh, I'm in a great space today. I slept really well. I meditated well. I trained really good. I'm in a really good space to be optimized for the tasks at hand. So I should definitely use this opportunity. Next clear sign of emotional maturity is empathy. I'm a very big believer in accountability, right? And not just accountability in the things that you do great at, but also accountability in the things that you don't do great at. A guy who shows that he can have a good level of empathy is someone who shows that he can understand people from a different perspective to his own. These kind of people tend to be more understanding, they tend to listen better, and even if they disagree with a viewpoint, they can still maybe understand the perspective the person is coming from. This is personally why I love playing the roles of bad guys in other shows or films or whatever I book as an actor, because as the bad guy, it's all about understanding their justification for why they made the decisions that they made. It's not that they're just pure evil by nature, because they're still human beings, even if we disagree with their decisions. The most interesting thing is, how did they come to take the path that they chose based on their experiences? So empathy is a really good sign of emotional maturity. Next sign of emotional maturity is communication. We know this. Communication is key for any relationship to work. Not even just romantic relationships, but platonic relationships like with your friends or your close friends, and even family members as well. Communication is paramount for any relationship. And you can't communicate things if they don't have a level of awareness. So these two things tend to go hand in hand, but he doesn't just keep you in the dark about things. He doesn't expect you to know something if he hasn't communicated that to you. So he doesn't just take the position of, maybe you text him and he doesn't respond, and he goes, oh, she knows me well enough to know that if I don't respond, it's just because I'm not working, so he doesn't say anything. Or maybe he doesn't respond because he's having some downtime and he just needs to wind down for himself. But if he doesn't communicate that, how does that help you? Now, he can still have his downtime, but just communicating to you that he's not free to chat, because he might be like, oh, hey babe, sorry, I'm not really up for chatting tonight. I've had a long day and I'm gonna have some downtime for bed. Let's catch up in the morning. You know what I mean? Communication is key. This next sign that a guy is emotionally mature, and something I think we all definitely need more of, is patience. Patience is a virtue. A little wait won't hurt you. That's literally a saying my dad would tell me and my sisters growing up. Having patience is a very good quality of being a leader, because there are going to be times where not only do you have to be patient with yourself, but you're going to have to be patient with other people because they don't think like you. There may be some things that you are very quick to get and understand, but other people may need a little bit more time and a little bit more guidance for the direction that we're going in. Now, in order for them to do that, you need to have a level of patience. Now, don't get me wrong. Patience isn't just saying that you wait all day or all week or all year without any standards. But patience is about intentionally giving someone the space to grow in the areas that they need to, that helps for the better. So a man who does have a level of patience does have a lot of emotional maturity, because he understands that a lot of great things in life take time to build. And a relationship is one of them. Because, for example, imagine if you wanted to start a new Instagram account, right? And you want to grow your following. And let's say you post 10 photos and 13 reels in the space of 1 week. And then you check your analytics, you're like, hold on, I've only gained 9 followers. Why aren't people following me from my great post that I've posted over the past week? Patience is a virtue. Things don't happen overnight. And the more we can understand that patience is a key ingredient for building something long-lasting, then the better off we all are going to be. This next sign of emotional maturity, and is definitely my favorite one in the list, is responsibility. Especially when it comes to being a man, I truly believe part of being a man is taking responsibility for other people. Taking responsibility for your children, taking responsibility for your family, taking responsibility for your friendships. Now, that's not saying that you are responsible for everything that happens to everyone in your life, but it's about taking responsibility to try and help others where you can, especially people you care about, to provide or even protect others. When it comes to emotional maturity and intelligence, a man takes responsibility for himself. He understands that his situation and his outcomes are entirely his own. He doesn't try and blame things that are in his control on other things. So for example, if he's the kind of guy who maybe he's not in the best shape of his life, he doesn't go, oh, well, the reason I'm in bad shape is because I have a sweet tooth, or I really don't like exercising, or my favorite one, I have the fat gene. Okay, yeah, sure. Whatever you say. I mean, it's funny how it's only in the countries where food is abundant that the fat gene actually exists, but hey, I'm not a medical professional. He does take responsibility and he goes, you know what? I could do better here. I'm going to start eating healthily. I'm going to start going to the gym, because if I want to have a better body for myself, then I need to take those steps. Or not to mention that responsibility is definitely a trait you need in a man if you want him to be a good leader. Taking responsibility as the leader of the relationship, if that's the kind of man you want, where he's like, okay, I want to be responsible from getting us from A to B. I want to be responsible for creating a good frame and a safe environment, especially for you as a woman, where you feel safe. Because the more you feel safe as a woman, the more you can show your vulnerable side and you can be more in your feminine. See, it all just joins together. And this last sign, which would have been my favorite, but it's definitely a very close second, is respect. A sign of an emotionally mature man isn't just a man who gives respect, but it is a man who has respect from others. It's other people qualifying him as a person of good character, of good values, and of high value. Now, here's the thing. There's a baseline of respect that we should give to every human being just right off the bat until proven otherwise. However, there is a certain level of respect that has to be earned. And not everyone might like this, but it's just a reality of life. I mean, let's be honest, you're not going to give the same level of respect to the average guy down the street who you know lies through his teeth compared to if you met Barack Obama, compared if you met Martin Luther King. There's a certain level of respect that has to be earned. And emotionally mature men, they understand this and they recognize this. So of course, if you're his woman, you're going to get a certain level of respect as his woman, as his partner, than some random girl. Because as his woman, there's going to be a higher level in the things that he does for you and in the ways that he serves you. And part of having respect for you could be him not putting himself in situations where he could get romantically involved with other women. I mean, I know you could implement the whole Pence rule, you know, not meeting the opposite sex one-to-one, and that's a little bit extreme, but I understand the foundation from which that comes from. It's also about having respect for himself within the relationship. And part of having respect for oneself is him being able to set boundaries with his friends, with his family, and maybe even you. Because if you do cross the line with him, if you do overstep a boundary, he has enough confidence in himself to go, you know what, babe, I understand why you might have done this, but you crossed the line here, and this is something that I don't accept or tolerate. Because let's be honest, one, you don't want a guy who's a pushover, and two, a guy you don't respect is a man you can't love. If you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick. Cat.